Hi. Good evening, everyone. Happy
Hello.
Lunar New Year, the year of Tiger. Hi,
Hello, how's it
Cyan.
going?
Hi. So we are live now. So welcome again, everybody, and Happy New Year. My name is Leona De Pasquale. I'm one of the mentors of Be Inclusive Hospitality and a certified wine and tea educator. Now I'm running my own event and hospitality training company called Chameleon Wine. And I'll be the moderator for tonight's event, and we'll be chatting to the 4 lovely panelists who are also all leaders in hospitality in different capacities. So tonight's event is organized by Be Inclusive Hospitality, and it's a social enterprise and a professional network within the hospitality sector with a mission to accelerate racial equality. So tonight's event is also sponsored by Maru Ling, a lovely Taiwanese tea company based in London. And the Lin family has been tea growers for generations in Taiwan, and which is where I come from. So I think some of our panelists, including myself, will be drinking and enjoy their tea tonight during our chat, okay? And there will be a Q&A at the end. And so please use your chat box on the right-hand side. And don't forget that we will select a winner who asked the best best question, and in our view, and then you will be getting a free cocktail for 2 at the Shard at the Ting restaurant, sponsored by Alan, one of our panelists. Okay, and so now let's get started. So first of all, I will ask our panelists to quickly introduce themselves. So who wants to start? Let me see. Ellen, how about yourself?
Hi everyone, Gong Hei Fat Choi, which means Happy Chinese New Year. Sun taking home, wishing you great health. My name is Alan. I'm restaurant director at Shangri-La Hotel in Ting Restaurant, which is level 35 of the Shard. Yeah.
Okay. So how about Celeste?
Take myself off mute. Hi everybody, Gong Hei Fat Choi. So my name is Celeste Wong. I am the director of The Girl in the Cafe, which is a blog and sort of coffee, lifestyle and travel blog. I've been in the specialty coffee industry for about a decade and a half, originally from New Zealand. And yeah, I've been living in London for a number of years.
Okay, thank you. James, how about yourself?
How are you doing? Happy New Year, everyone. I've been in restaurant takeaway quite new actually. So I've got one in Milton Keynes and up by Wirral. Prior to that, I've been in more the social media business and the usual career ladder, but I've kind of stepped aside that now and I'm just focused on the hospitality.
Okay, thank you. So last but not least, Cyan, could you introduce yourself, please?
Thank you, Leona. 恭喜發財大家 and 身體健康. Happy New Year, everyone. So my name is Yan Wong. It's spelled like the color cyan, but pronounced cyan. It's very easy to confuse. And I am a bar and drink specialist. So I do consulting for restaurants, hotels, bars, and other venues, specializing in cocktails and a little bit of training and structure. And I've been making drinks professionally now for about 16 years. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, so as you can see, all our panelists, we all have like different roles in the hospitality. So we'll chat on that a little bit later on, because tonight the main thing is we're going to talk about Chinese New Year, some of the cultural and the traditional things that we do, as we are all have the Chinese heritage. So yeah, talking about Chinese heritage, would you like to just quickly share where you've maybe your family come from? So for example, my family came from southern part of China in the 19th century. to Taiwan. So it has been generations. I was born in Taiwan and everything, but then still there's lots of like Chinese influence, and we still celebrate Chinese New Year. I remember that when I was young, and there's lots of different things that were really, really traditional things that we still follow, but much less so now. So how about everyone? Ellen, I believe all of you have the parents or the family were originally from Hong Kong. Am I right?
Yes, so my parents are from the New Territories in Hong Kong. Me and my siblings were born and raised in UK. My grandfather came to the UK in the 70s or 80s, and then my dad came over, and then he brought his brother and 3 sisters over. So now me and my siblings are here.
Okay, so how do you? So Ellen, while we're on you, would you like to share like what sort of like Chinese New Year celebration that you remember?
For Chinese New Year, we usually have a big feast at home. We celebrate for 15 days. So New Year is based on the lunar calendar, based on the new moon, and every year we have a different Chinese zodiac. There's 12 different animals which rotate. We celebrate by wearing red. It's for good luck.
Yeah.
We eat specific dishes which have different significance. So, for example, long noodles for long life, shrimps for happiness. We have fish as well, which represents wealth, and we clean our house before New Year, which is good luck as well.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a deep cleaning. Anyone? So the panelists, you really feel free to unmute yourself and just chip in, okay? Because I think everyone has got a lot of different traditions. Actually, you do. I definitely remember the big, deep cleaning of the house. It was such I don't know. I hate that. I hate to remember that. But well, now in the UK, it was just like, it's quite relaxed. There's no parents there and 2 naggies, so it's okay. How about?
I did do that.
Yeah.
This year I did get into all of that. I did a lot of, and I was really like kind of superstitious this year. I was like making sure my friends ate noodles, and I went to see a friend on February the 1st, and I took him some instant noodles because I was like, you just eat them. Long life.
Yeah. Well, we kind of need a healthy and long life. Not long life is not enough.
Yeah.
I think we have to be healthy as well. So
Yeah,
so how about Xian and James?
First, I want to say, Alan, 15 days of celebration. That sounds amazing. I think my family, if we're lucky, maybe a day or so. But yeah, I'd like to start that tradition next year. Starting from next year, let's aim for 15 days of eating, drinking, being merry. I think for us, it was just an excuse, like any Western national holiday, just to get together and eat lots of food. A lot of the time, most of my family would be working, but we do eat very late. So either for lunch or even extremely late. And this year, I had a lot of leftovers from what was it called? It's near the Excel Centre. They do amazing dim sum in London. It's like China Royal, something like that. So I bought a load of food on Saturday, and I've just been.
I know.
I've been to that one. It's good, yeah.
It's good. The dim sum's so good. They don't do it for takeout. It's across from the Excel Centre, like by the station.
Oh,
okay.
No.
There's a few.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
few around there by City Airport. But yeah, unfortunately, they don't do dim sum on a Saturday evening. But they do chicken and all the big dishes, like all the large plates. So I just made my friends eat lots of different food and then take it back so I can refresh everything.
Yeah, eating is a big thing. Yeah, in the Chinese culture. And so James, how about yourself? Any family traditions or 15 days or 16 days celebration?
I'm not as deep. I'm actually 3rd generation, so I was born in the UK, 3rd generation. My family's from Hong Kong, so I'm like losing touch on some of the things. But like there's some things I remember from childhood still. I think more recently, like I've not really celebrated as much. But some of the superstitions kind of stick to my head though, of like you can't sweep the floor and stuff. Like you know. So I'm okay with that. Okay with that. I'll do that tomorrow. It's okay.
Yeah, I think that also stick to my mind. I mean, I moved to the UK since 2005. So for the last, 15 years or so, yeah, I don't really stick to the tradition at all. But, all those things like superstitious stuff, like no sweeping the floor, no wearing black or white, this kind of things really stick to my mind. But then, we are in London, we are in the UK, we really just don't follow that. So apart from eating and drinking, anything special?
I miss the red envelopes. I don't get
Yes.
those no more.
Yes.
Yeah. It's nice when you go home though, and then you collect them all.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Wow.
We'll go and see Alan soon.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about these red envelopes. I mean, for those of you who are not sure what we are talking about, so Ellen, would you like to explain a little bit about what this tradition about? That's a big thing apart from eating, because we need to have this red envelope for younger people. So nobody's older people to the younger people, right? Even bosses to their staff. So would you like to explain a little bit, Ellen?
Yes, sure. So the red envelopes, in Cantonese, we call them Leici or Hongbao. And basically, the parents who are married, they give it to their children or their nephews or nieces. And also company bosses in Chinese companies, they give them out as well to their employees. It's red because it symbolizes good luck, but they can also come in different colors like gold. It's just the concept of giving, and it's lucky money. So it's not about how much is inside. Some people give it with candy inside or vouchers. We're actually giving vouchers at the hotel for a cocktail on the next visit. So it's a nice gesture for our guests.
Yeah. So that's something very interesting, because I was reading newspaper and then recently I realized that people in Hong Kong actually give like candies and stuff in envelope, but in Taiwan it has to be money. I've never received candy. Sorry.
I've never heard of candy, but that must be a modern thing.
I heard about that the other day. You can even,
I would have been really bummed if I got candy.
So because of the pandemic, we obviously can't give and receive red envelopes. So there is a function on WeChat where people can send it digitally, so it kind of beats the purpose, but it's just
I heard that.
Money will find a way in the new age.
Yeah.
I heard that as well. I was like, wow, we have to adopt to the technology and move with time. So so I think there's lots of things, because I had a little research earlier on, and do you know that the Chinese New Year is a festival for a quarter of the world's population?
A quarter.
Wow.
And then come to think about that, well, there's loads of people in China, so I can totally understand that, but I didn't realize that's a quarter of the world population. So it is
Asia,
a lot,
right? So it's not just China.
Yeah.
It's exactly. And then here we are in London, in the UK, we're talking about Chinese New Year as well. So it's really something that's been celebrating everywhere, really. So so that's really, really interesting. Talking about the superstitious, anyone remember anything that you must not do during Chinese New Year? I think for someone, so for some of our audience, maybe they'll be interested to know, what's the not don't do thing during Chinese New Year to don't offend their Chinese friends. So
don't get your hair cut after New Year.
I didn't know that. Yeah, don't get your hair. Wash your hair. Don't wash your hair on New Year's Day. So I washed my hair before. And also an interesting one was don't buy books within the first 14, 15 days of
I didn't know that.
New Year's.
Don't buy books.
I can't remember
I
why.
heard about that one. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, don't buy new books.
Because book in Chinese, in Mandarin, is shu. It pronounced like losing,
right.
I guess. Yeah.
All those.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
I
that
know.
makes sense.
So
And then something that you cannot eat, pear. Pear is in Chinese. It was it's like you are going to be departing. It's just unlucky. So there are lots of this kind of thing. I actually had to do some research on Google before this because I can't remember a lot.
It's like the opposite of Cockney rhyming slang, but with superstition and Mandarin Chinese.
Yeah. So I think one of the things I hear people in the UK might know is eating dumplings, and then that was definitely the auspicious food. Anyone know why? Celeste, you want to? Because I saw you on your
Don't eat dumplings or do eat dumplings?
Eating dumplings.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, wonton. I mean, I've got a tattoo of a wonton, so like, I love wontons. I mean, they remind me of my mum. Probably the only thing that I can. Yeah, it's just here on my like hat. Won't be very good when I get older. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that really remind. Well, my mum is still around, but you know, obviously we're far away. So every time I eat them, I think of home, which is New Zealand. So yeah, I eat dumplings any chance I get, or wontons specifically. I can't really fold the dumplings very well at the moment. There's something that I need to probably practice. And noodles, they're my favorite. I could eat it all like every day.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
it's like rice. I mean, typical sort of, well, I guess stereotype, but I mean, that is just what I grew up eating, and I really like it.
And
so
it's delicious.
I love it.
It is. Yeah.
To be honest, I don't eat a lot of Chinese food day to day. So maybe that's also why every time I do eat it, I'm like either craving it or I really enjoy Chinese food. I just think it's super tasty and
Yeah. And so one thing is that dumpling has got this shape of ancient, money. So that's why people think that it is something, you can eat every day, of course, but definitely in Chinese New Year, a lot of people eat that because of this auspicious meaning as well. So
like gold.
Yeah, that's gold, 元宝. So that's ancient money, and so there's lots of interesting things, and so you can take days to talk about that. But I think we should just move on a little bit because we have all this chat about our Chinese New Year celebration, and I think one thing that I would really like to talk about tonight is we are all working in hospitality in different capacity. And then, but one thing, if people are aware of the Chinese culture, Chinese parents, one sort of like a default career for Chinese parents to see, to see their children doing is maybe doctor, lawyer, or accountant. So those are like highly respectful job that's top in our traditional Chinese families, view and mindset. But then hospitality in comparison were probably on the bottom of their in their view. And so this is quite interesting. I think we can explore tonight. And what I wanted to do to start with Alan, because Alan, you are a trained accountant, so you did one of the default job that considered very good as for traditional Chinese parents, but then now you are working as a professional in hospitality. Could you just share a little bit when did you realize that you want to work in hospitality, and how is your role actually perceived by your family?
I was actually studying accounting, ACCA. It's actually quite useful. I took it into hospitality. I guess I've kind of always known I wanted to be in the industry. I worked in the industry since I was really young. My parents had takeaways. My uncle had a restaurant that I worked in. I worked in a cafe after work, and I was just always interested in making money and serving the guests and providing a memorable experience for them, and personalizing it. So just making it unique guest experience. I think my parents learned to respect my role more as I got into more luxury properties like fine dining, Michelin star, global brands, and now 5-star hotel. And it's an Asian brand that they know, Shangri-La. So definitely they wanted me to go into studying science and become a doctor or lawyer. I did study law for a bit in college, but I decided it wasn't for me. I was always good at finance, but hospitality, you use a lot of financial awareness and commercial awareness. So definitely that's not been a waste of time studying. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, so how about Celeste? Would you like to share? Because you are, you're also you have a honors degree in commerce and design, and then you are a successful actress, and then top barista as well. And it's just like outside of the traditional. Yeah. So this is not the traditional default career at all. Yeah. So share a little bit. Yeah.
So my parents are originally from China and they immigrated to New Zealand. And they met in New Zealand. So I'm first generation New Zealand born Chinese. My brothers and sisters are actually about 20 years older than me. So they're almost a whole generation, older than me. Same parents. So I sort of came along a little bit late. They are, I've got a brother that's a doctor, and I have my other brother is a business consultant, and very, I think he's got an MBA and was also a microbiologist beforehand, and my sister's a dentist. So me getting into coffee and then deciding I wanted to be an actress was kind of a little bit of a shock, maybe a shock, I'm not sure, to my mum. So yeah, my father passed away when I was quite young. So they started off with a fruit shop. And then after my dad passed away, she opened up a sandwich bar. So I've sort of been around hospitality, but I never really got to see the fruit shop because that was all like my brothers and sisters sort of time.
Right.
So yeah, I do remember, I remember going to university and just sort of studying, and it wasn't really that fun for me. But like Alan, I don't think it's been a waste. I do use it in my work today. Having an honors degree in marketing, there's still a lot of things that apply, and I have that mind, and I also have a creative mind. So I do a lot of actually marketing strategy for other big brands within my industry and also outside my industry. So I do some consulting as well as all my online stuff. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I was like a working barista. Like that was, when I decided to do acting, actually, being a barista was really something that I really found to enjoy. I was really good at it. And also it was like super interesting. And I think it made me a lot more social. And it also enabled me, like my whole idea was like, oh, if I go to London, like I could get an office job in marketing or in business or something. But I really I had a good reputation going from New Zealand to Melbourne. My coffee mentor was actually Chinese, and he's a brilliant everything, brilliant at coffee, brilliant at alcohol, brilliant in food, cooks. He's got a really sort of vast hospitality background. So working with him for so many years and running his cafe was really pretty amazing. Like it taught me a lot. So when I came over here, I was like, I could get a job that was probably a little bit more well paid, but actually I really love the culture of, like, I went to a place called Flat White, which is in Soho in London. And at the time it was the #1 only artisan coffee shop. And, everybody went there as soon as they got off the plane, or all the production houses, big movie production houses would go there. So I met so many people, and like the coffee was brilliant. We were like the leaders. And so we sort of, I think Flat White actually originally really inspired and had a huge impact, which I'm really proud of being a part of, had a really huge impact on the London and the UK coffee scene. So being a part of that sort of era and seeing it grow and being a part of the growth was really awesome. So yeah, I was working as a barista here till, I still do bits and pieces if I do a pop-up. And doing acting on the side. So I thought, oh, if I'm a barista, then I can, if I'm just doing hospitality, I can just, if I get a big acting job, I can just quit, or I can get time off, and I've got that flexibility. And I was really lucky because, my work really appreciated me. So they let me go. I actually went back to New Zealand for about 2 or 3 months to do the first like a movie that was like the first Chinese cast in, that they'd made a movie on. Well, that wasn't explained very well, but the first movie in New Zealand that featured pretty much an all Chinese cast, like Ching Pei Pei from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and yeah, it was pretty cool. But yeah, my mom was really not. She still kind of asked me. She's like, "Oh, when are you going to give up? Basically your pipe dream." I mean, I do remember crying in the basement of Flat White. And earning no money, like very little money, but sort of just really steadfast in, that I want to enjoy what I'm doing. I want to be around, they became my family, the staff became my family, and when you're away from home, you sort of, you've got to kind of grab onto that and
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Mum still asks me what I do. Try and explain every time, but it doesn't really go anywhere. So I just figure, like, I just say, "Oh, I'm in advertising, I'm in marketing," or
which is true.
That's it.
Yeah. But just use a language that they understand, and then they feel that. I think all they want is really simple. They want you to not to be able to worry about life, and you will have a good life. Basically, I think that's really all they want. James,
they want that. They also want to be able to tell their friends.
Yeah, probably something. Yeah. So, James, how about yourself? You're from a social media guru, and then now restaurant owner. So it's quite a different transition. Was that? Tell us about it.
Yeah. So I mean, I actually started in IT in my career, and in IT, I kind of worked my way up, and I was a security consultant for a lot of the Fortune 500 companies. So I was moving around a lot, doing a lot of like auditing and consultancy around security. And I was traveling a lot as well internationally for that. So whilst I was doing that, and I also had a social media business running at the same time. And that was bringing, a lot of like social exposure of what I was doing. Not many people was doing what I was doing at the time, because I was like managing like maybe over 300 Instagram accounts at one time. So it's quite different. And
what?
then
300?
Yeah, that was the business. Yeah. So and when I was doing that, one of my clients, he asked about a partner takeaway, and I don't have any experience in takeaway, but I thought I can do the branding, I can do the social, I can package it, So that's what we did. So it was the same staff, same chefs. We packaged everything, made it good, did the socials, and then pitched it out, and it's doing okay. And then since that, it was lockdown 2020, and I found a business up by Liverpool that was for sale. It was a buffet before. So I looked into it, and I thought I'll buy that out and just kind of like stick to the takeaway side until COVID kind of clears up. And yeah, we're still running. It's called J Park in Wirral, and it's like kind of the reason why I did that was more to kind of be that bridge between the old generation and the new generation. Like because when I see the scene, everyone's doing the same thing, and it's not like they want to do more, but they just don't trust the process, because I think they're a bit maybe scared to like change a strategy, or because it's new. They like to stick to what they know. So and I thought it would be a way for me to kind of go back to my own roots. I know that it's not the desirable path, but I've done it, and I thought, okay, let me change and see what I can in this space. But yeah, that's pretty much.
So far so good.
Yeah, so far so good, but yeah, I mean, a lot of challenges, and I can see why it's quite a difficult industry. So I appreciate the effort that everyone's kind of put into to raise their families to get to where they are today. So and until you've seen it with your own eyes, like it's a lot of effort.
Yeah. Thank you. Sion, you and we are dealing with alcohol. I mean, I'm on the education side, but you are on the drinks and bar side. tell us about your journey and how does your family view your job. For example, what I'm trying to say is in the Chinese culture is like female alcohol is just not it's a no. So would you like to share a little bit of the journey? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you. It always gets me. Yes, you're right. In our culture and also physically, being a small Asian female, drinking doesn't really bode too well. But yes, it has challenges in many different ways. But after 17 years of kind of doing it, I feel like I've kind of got a grip of being able to know your limits and just be able to blend flavors. Because at the end of the day, as you know, as everybody does with working with flavors and hospitality, it's all about understanding and having sensitivity of the palate. But with my family, they still don't really understand what I do. Very similar to Alan and Celeste, as it's taken a lot of time for them to kind of feel at peace that what I'm doing could be beneficial and has like some longevity in terms of a career. Also, I just want to say I love Flat White, and I loved Flat White and Sacred coffee shops in London. When I came down to London, were like my go-tos every time I was in Oxford Circus. Absolutely adore them. I didn't know that you were part of Flat White, and that was when I was introduced to the Flat White. The coffee scene culture was so different. So yeah, that's very, very cool. But yeah, I actually my cousins and my family, I don't have any siblings. My cousins and my family, they are dentists, doctor, lawyers, engineers, and I went in I applied to do biochemistry and pharmacology at university, and then I had a bit of a panic, and I realized I didn't really truly want to spend the rest of my life in a lab coat working for the government, or in a lab. I was just naturally I could do it on an academic level, but I had no passion for it. So by default, I went into clearing. I went to art college. So that was the first blow for my family, I think. And it was the last minute. It wasn't expected.
Another one.
Say what? Oh,
I said art's another one.
Yeah, exactly. It's how do you monetize art? It's quite a strange concept. But then yes, like marketing and business, there's a lot of transferable skills if you're doing something creative. So actually, I found that to be immensely useful throughout my career. And yeah, drinks making is a really brilliant way of communicating flavors and culture, and it just being light and fun. There's something quite socially binding about that in a non-ceremonious way, and you have that complexity, which I really, really loved about it. And after several years of honing in how to make drinks and running some really great bars, some of the best bars in the world, and working for brands and being a brand ambassador for bigger name brands. And the education side is also a big part of my role. Hence the consultancy is quite difficult to implement a menu or a drink strategy without training staff. So it really does play a part, share your experience. Yeah. And that's where I'm at now.
Yeah. So I think that's exactly what you say. Drinks really do connect people. I mean, in our Chinese culture, I think we don't actually grow up drinking alcohol, but tea, for example. Yeah. So so it's just a lot. I think we were just I sometimes say, because I'm now also educating people about tea as well. I just feel sometimes I introduce myself saying that my blood. I've got tea in my blood, because I think it's really, we drank tea when I was so little until now, and so it's all about flavors. I mean, also Chinese food is full of flavor as well. So Yeah, so thank you very much for telling us about your journey. But shall we talk a little bit about, challenges? So apart from, pressures or maybe misunderstood from the family, any challenges that you face throughout those years that you are in hospitality? Should we go from Ellen again, or yeah?
Yeah, challenges. Growing up in the industry, I didn't actually study hospitality. I worked my way up. So I started first in a cafe as a barista. I worked in a takeaway behind the scenes, and then moved to front of house packaging and taking payments. Then I moved into another cafe and then another restaurant, and I just worked my way up from different levels. And it wasn't until I moved to Brighton when I started working fine dining in a restaurant called Guards. It's a family friend-owned restaurant, and I had some experience in the bar as a waiter, taking orders, serving food, and then I became a manager. And then when I moved to London, I had to take 5 steps back because I didn't have a hospitality degree to work in a luxury environment, Michelin star. So I went back to being a commie again, and then I started working my way up again. Because I knew that I had to make sacrifices to really understand the ins and outs of hospitality and learn what motivates different people, learning about different leadership styles, and
Moving backwards to move forward.
Yeah.
But I think once you work in a family-owned restaurant, independent restaurant, you kind of gain more street smarts because you don't have different titles like bartender, sommelier, waiter. Everyone's doing everything. So
Yeah.
I think I kind of developed how to multitask and prioritize from working in independent family restaurants, and then I kind of applied that in a luxury property. So when I first heard of sommelier, I didn't even know what that was before. I didn't know they specialize in someone pouring wine and tasting, and I didn't know there was this whole different level of hospitality. So it's really interesting for me. So, yeah.
Yeah. And how about Xian? How about you? Any challenges or does being a Chinese origin, does that make any difference?
Any challenges? I mean, life would be pretty dull without challenges.
True.
This could be a very, very long chat. There's two main challenges I can think of. If you're doing something creative, the renewal of inspiration, the novelty, and all the novelty that comes with it. Passion is kind of an antidote for that. So that is that is something you kind of have to keep a check on, I guess. And it's a good way to kind of gauge if you are still being refreshed, and if your passion is waning, then it's kind of like joy. You just go out and top of your joy levels, top of your inspiration levels to kind of keep yourself fresh. But in terms of being female and ethnic, definitely, of course. And growing up in the Northeast and then moving to London, things have changed rapidly. I think I'm just going to touch on the female part first because that might be easier. I led award-winning cocktail bar in a neighborhood, and it was all female team. So female waiters, female bartenders. We had a male security guard. But all the managers were female, and so it's strange having won some accolades and actually like getting a level of respect within the industry, within the cocktail and the drinks industry. It was still a challenge to be taken seriously, which is kind of a bit ridiculous. Like the fact that we had an all-female team was perceived as like more of a gimmick than just because it happened the way it happens. And I found myself explaining to people that were adults that are in hospitality and in drinks, oh no, we have a wide range of skill set. They just all happen to be female, and the team was formed because of the person that they were. And they're like, yes, it would be a gimmick. It's a little bit insulting or a little bit frustrating, because I don't think a male bar professional talents would have been pigeonholed as a business strategy. And it's like 3 years later, it's like I'm still explaining myself to people for a while that I was very proud of running. So that was irritating. I guess that's just one example.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of challenges, and being females really is quite sort of. I personally don't really have I'm just talking a little bit about myself as well, because we're in this very similar industry. But I think from the education side, because I come in as an expert already, if you are going to teach someone, so I coming from a kind of different role and view, so people then treat you with respect. So I come across probably less challenges than some other people. I think I was just lucky. However, I do have other friends who are from Taiwan, and then and she's quite small. I'm relatively tall as a Taiwanese woman, but she's quite small, and she does also like wine education as well. But then whenever she goes to a corporate event full of businessmen and all that, and they would think that okay, could you pour me a wine or something? It's like treat her as a waitress or and didn't realize that she's actually going there to teach them. So sometimes it's just a bit tricky. It's just like the appearance can be a bit of a challenge sometimes.
Learning to overcome that is probably quite an important step within going to a different culture. That is really it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
Sure.
How about
James? One more thing. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no problem.
Just because you had just touched on the drinks industry, the drinks industry is very male dominated. I think the industry is in general, but especially around cocktails, alcohol, especially hard alcohol. And it's, I think that's changing. I feel like there's definitely progress in that regard, but I definitely have to say there was quite a bit of toxic masculinity behind the bar, and you would probably and the good thing is I can definitely see a lot of that changing, and a lot of women kind of like actually being interested in the roles that we do and in the industry that we're in, and I see that super positive. So yeah, whoever who is thinking about if you do love cocktails, if you do love wine, don't be afraid to step out and step up and defend yourself, or just call people out. Call out anything that's toxic, that's not particularly healthy.
Yeah, exactly. I think here in the UK, it's really quite sort of well balanced, and you can always voice your view. So I think male, female, different races, I think it's very important. But there are challenges for sure. How about James? You're 6 months into hospitality, roughly, right? So did you?
Oh, maybe longer than that.
Longer, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because of COVID.
2019.
Yeah.
So I mean, like there's a lot of challenges. I mean, where do you start? Like, I think even being like a BBC, right, an Asian in the UK, born here, you're already a minority, so you're kind of like having to stay in your own lane in a way, and kind of like not cause too much trouble. You just kind of like just do what you're told and don't mess around. So that's always been a challenge anyway, just kind of like moving in life. And I think with even with the social media side, like there's no one really iconic in the UK that's representing like Asians. So that's my challenges going through my journey. And then when we entered into the takeaway scene and this industry, I'm seeing like why the older generation like to stick to that to themselves. They don't like to really branch out. Like there's Chinese been living here their whole lives, but still don't speak English because they they kind of integrate in their own communities. So these are the challenges that I've noticed, and I've always thought that if as an Asian in the UK, I need to be like have a voice at least, because I know a lot don't speak out because of confrontation. So I'm trying to be that bridge right now. And I think being in hospitality, like it's quite difficult because the chefs, they're kind of like, you know, they're stuck in their own ways and they've been always doing that, and the younger generation don't want to do what they're doing, so that skill set is going to be lost. So this is what I'm like kind of experiencing at the moment.
Yeah. I think that's definitely the thing. So, so do you come across like, because all the chefs, they are so sort of like experienced and all of that? Do they listen to you, or do they listen to your suggestion? Or
so you kind of know out the mentality already. So you know they're experienced, they're a lot older than me. So you know when I'm telling them things, you know it takes a bit of time. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a challenge being a boss as well, and then also young, you know. So before we go,
my Cantonese is not very good as well, you know. So
that's a problem as well.
So my Cantonese is like I can talk to them a little bit, but it's not enough to tell them. So.
Yeah. So all different sort of challenges. But before we go to Celeste, I just want to encourage our audience, if you have any questions, here is the chance, and then just to type it on the right hand side. And those who ask questions might have a chance to win cocktail for two at the Shard, sponsored by Ting Shangri-La by Ellen. So so Celeste, how about you? We're talking about challenges, you know, that we are facing working
currently or working. Oh yeah, sorry guys. My computer was having a bit of a meltdown. I'm not sure if it's my computer or the Wi-Fi, but I was away for a couple of minutes. Challenges in hospitality. I kind of got some of the conversation, so I figured, was it about just being challenges in hospitality being Chinese?
Yeah, well, you being Chinese as well, or you know, just challenge that you face throughout the way. Where to start?
So many. Where to start? I mean, I feel like it's not unique just to hospitality, but I think the nature of hospitality is really, you know, you get in there and you get your hands dirty, like you know, before I started, like when I started consulting a few years ago, you know, I had some people, you know, I have people coming up to me or like approaching me and getting in contact who are from finance backgrounds or like backgrounds where they haven't had any hospitality experience. And the first thing I say to them is basically go and get a job in a hospital, in a cafe or a restaurant or whatever you want to open, just so that I know you understand what it's like, because when you become the boss, it really, really helps to understand, you know, the people who are working for you and how to talk to them and communicate with them. Because, you know, so many times I've had mainly really amazing bosses, mainly because I also have stayed in a place. So for example, when I was at Flat White and I opened up their sister cafe, I was with them for like 7 years, you know, and I was with the last place for, you know, a few years before that. And then, you know, so my bosses have on the whole been really good, but I have had a couple of sort of experiences where, you know, one boss was sexist, you know, that was really tough. And I also I think, and he came from sort of a financial background. He was like the finance guy, but sort of came in to sort of run a few more things on the ground because, you know, we weren't making enough money. This was sort of a few years on. And it was interesting because I was thinking, oh, you know, he really can't. I was watching him relate to the chefs and relate to some of the staff. And I was just like, he's just not talking to them in a respectful way. But I also think it's just because he doesn't really understand the work that they're doing. They're on a completely different level. Like his focus is bottom line, and he can't make the staff have that be their number one priority, because actually what they want to do is they want to earn a living and they have other priorities, you know. So that's one of the things I think is, you know, is a challenge, is communicating and sort of having an understanding like what hospitality actually entails. And yes, it can be very glamorous and it can be like super fun and super social, and you know, you get to eat great food, drink lots of amazing coffee and cocktails, and try all the best things, and you know, there's industry nights and all sorts of things. But you know, I think I think the challenge for me anyway would probably be in management, and just in communicating whether I'm on the receiving side end or whether I'm the one managing. I think that's a very sort of important skill, and you know, one that can be learned, but it's not, you know, it's not easy, because you've got so many different personalities, and you're all trying to work. You assume that you're all working to one kind of goal, but you know, everybody has different things going on. Someone's got some family problems, someone's got money problems, someone doesn't like, you know, is still learning, or you know. So as a manager, I think that is like that's a challenge. As an Asian female, I don't know, I don't think I never saw it. It might have been a challenge, but I think I speak up pretty easily when I need to. So I didn't, and you know, I've always had good support. Can't think of any off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, there's racism, but for some reason I just kind of, you know, there's a few instances, but I try not to kind of take it too personally, you know.
Yeah. I think that's my learning as well. So definitely, I mean, I guess in conclusions, like many other industries, there are definitely challenges. And then I think the good thing is how we actually take the challenges, actually, you know, make it a positive way for us to grow. So I think that's basically what I see it, you know, welcome challenges, and then there's always a way out. I'm quite positive. And I know that there are a couple of questions, and one from Chloe. What advice would you give to someone starting out who wants to follow a less conventional career path? Well, we can all answer that. Who wants to jump in?
Yeah, all of our career paths I think just believe it. What I would say is just know what you want to learn, or know what kind of person that you want, you know, who you want to be, and just keep steadfast and believing in yourself, and keep doing it, because it's going to get hard regardless of whether it's conventional or conventional or unconventional. You're going to have challenges regardless, so just, you know, accept that. But I think just keep going even when you get setbacks. I think that's really important, especially if this is if it's something you really, really want to do, then, you know, it might take a little bit longer, but you will see an improvement, and that will increase your confidence, and then you will be able to achieve bigger things and take bigger steps, and you'll see it will happen, but it might take a while. You can't be sort of naive about that, because I think we all think we're going to do something, and it's going to just suddenly, you know, I'm going to be discovered, or, you know, you see overnight successes. But actually, when you look, I do a lot of interviews with a lot of successful people, and the thing I get most, you know, the lesson I learn most from them is that actually they've gone through so many ups and downs, challenges and successes both. But it's not an overnight success. It's so many failures and so many blows to the ego. But, you know, when you do keep going, I think you know, you'll see the results. The results will come. So just, believe in yourself, and just make sure that you just keep going.
Exactly. I think it's the same advice, really. Don't be disheartened with setbacks and blows. Be resilient, because there's always going to be something to learn from, and those mistakes and those setbacks will be, you know, the substance that you rise from, you know. If you have time, Chloe Bailey, please read the words from Jackson Cannon to his younger self. He's written a beautiful letter. He's an extraordinary bartender in Boston. It's quite long, otherwise I would read the entire thing, but it's very, very inspirational. And it says, Dear Jackson, it starts with, Dear Jackson, pick your destination. and think carefully about what you really want. Look at your shoes. And the first step, get new shoes. But it keeps going and it's brilliant. So yeah, Jackson Cannon quote, inspirational quote.
Don't get new shoes.
Say again?
I was going to say, don't get new shoes in the next 14 days, because apparently in Chinese culture, you can't get new shoes in the next 14 days.
It's
So
very
wait,
true. Contradictory
Celebrate
to what we're saying.
shoes.
Yeah. So something about pears. Don't eat pears. Don't get new shoes. There's
Yeah.
a few that I've missed out there.
Okay, so do that on the 15th of February then, if you must. But but I think So and thank you. So sorry, Alan and James, did you wanted to answer Ashley this question, the second one? Oh, it's gone. What are some ways people could integrate different culture better in the workplace?
Good question.
Yeah, Ellen, you wanted to answer, because you work with lots of different nationalities and everything. Well, we all work with different nationality here in the UK anyway.
Yes, there's over 27 nationalities in my team alone in the restaurant. I guess my advice would be just be open-minded and try to understand from a different perspective. Sometimes when someone from a different country is saying something to you, they might not you might interpret it different. They might come across as very straightforward, or they might be saying it as a joke and you might take it in a different way. Just try to find out what did you mean by that, rather than judging them and acting on what they said. Everyone has a different work ethic, different culture, different experience, different background. So I think just have an open mind and just try to embrace different cultures.
Yeah. James, anything to add?
I mean, I don't actually have anything for that one specifically, because when I'm hiring people, I'm quite open-minded in a way. There isn't, a specific, what I'm looking for. I'm more about understanding the personality. Like, I don't actually mind so much about the experience. It's all about, I'm trying to understand who they are as a person. And I think the most difficult part in an interview and trying to understand a person is that the other person is not completely open, because they're like in an interview environment. So I've always, found that being quite a difficult, I don't know. It's like, for me to try and like understand their motivations and their intentions, these are the things that I'm trying to, understand for the business side. So for cultures, I think I'm open to everyone. It's just, just finding the right person. That's all.
Yeah, I think from my own experience, because I've been working in the wine industry here in the UK since also 2000 and like 10 years already, from for different companies, different wine importers, some very, very big. And I feel that one thing I really love about the UK in a workplace, I mean in London especially, is really sort of they respect different cultures, because we work with so many, like Ellen, just like so many different cultures. We have colleagues from all over the world and all that. And then I never really felt, that culturally I was, being disrespectful to my culture or anything. So but I was thinking that if that the same thing happened in Taiwan, where the majority are Chinese origin, then it would probably be a little bit different. So here it's just really, really multicultural. It's really just thought that is something I have very, very positive experience for this actually. How about Xian and
I was just going to
Celeste?
I think Celeste.
I was going to say, Xian, maybe if I can make a suggestion, if you could pop the reading or the book on your like Instagram stories or something, maybe.
Oh, the quote.
So we can go and have a look.
Oh, the quote.
Would that be okay?
Yeah. Let me do that. Should I do that right away?
Computer's just frozen.
Right. Okay. So while you are doing that, should we look at the next question? So what are your favorite traditional food to eat during Chinese New Year or in general? Gosh, there's so many, apart from noodles and dumplings. James, would you like to start?
Ooh, traditional. I don't know what's traditional because I'm losing my touch. But I like fish. I think fish is usually a good one, and lobster with the crispy noodles. I'm not go to, but
Yeah.
what do you call that? Traditional?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Fish
Okay.
is traditional. Fish.
Okay.
Yeah, it means surplus. So it's yu is like you have surplus for the year. So it's another very auspicious dish for Chinese New Year. And anyone else, Alan? Anything special?
What James said. We also eat turnip cakes for Chinese New Year. I'm not sure if that's all around Asia, and also the Chinese New Year cake. You know, the brown. Kind of like a jelly.
The brown sugar.
Yeah.
Brown sugar cake kind of thing, like the puff up cake.
Yeah.
Fa gao. Okay. Anyone else? I can't believe no
Noodles
one
and
mentioned
wontons?
hot pot. But
Oh, hot pot. I have that.
how
I don't
about
have that.
hot pot?
But you can have hot pot anytime.
No, it's a must in Taiwan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of like people are lazy now. You know, hot pot. If you don't know what hot pot is, it's just like a big pot of broth, and then we can just put whatever you want: fish, meat, vegetable, tofu, whatever, and cook in the broth, and people just take it, and along with other dishes. So in Taiwan, we kind of have that, and then that's the only tradition I take here. It's simply because I love hot pot anyway, and it's so quick. You don't even need to cook. All you need to do is just do some shopping and put everything in the broth. So easy. So yeah, okay. So we got another question from Julian. Is there any music that is traditionally associated with Chinese New Year? There is. Anyone want to answer that? I have the answer.
Oh yeah, there is the music for lion dancing. We play like drums and cymbals, and we make lots of noise to scare away evil spirits. So there's lion dancing and dragon dancing, where I do two different things. Lions, when you have lots of different people with a stick and you go around with the dragon, and the lion is two people in a costume, and I guess that's associated with Chinese New Year. I can't really think of.
Yeah, something always to do. Yeah, I think I remember in Taiwan during Chinese New Year. I mean, it's like Christmas here, just like a month leading to Christmas. Then you have decoration, and in Taiwan it's the same. So this during a month into or 3 months into Chinese, that's it. 1 month in Chinese New Year, you start hearing those music when you go to shopping, and it's always the same. It's like what Ellen say, you know, those music that's so traditional. You've never heard anything like that until it's approaching Chinese New Year. So really sort of like all about good words and congratulations. All this lucky auspicious stuff, and then putting in the song. So so we got all very tired after listening to that during the Chinese New Year, but there you go. Okay, so I don't know if we have any more questions. So anyone has there's another one. What are your goals for future? Do you have any exciting plans or projects? Anyone wanted to jump in? Any facts?
I don't mind. I'm in London at the moment, so I'm looking to open another restaurant here. But the challenge is planning permission right now, so I'm just waiting for that. Yeah.
Oh wow! We'll have to visit.
So the third.
It'll be based in West London if I get the planning permissions. But I've just been waiting, and it's been, to be honest, I was supposed to start this one before the one I found in 2020, and it's taken this long still. So hopefully get there.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything exciting in the pipeline?
Go Celeste.
I think I got cut off before. I was just going to quickly answer the question before about integrating different cultures in hospitality.
Yes.
I was going to say, like, what might be a good practical thing for people to do if for the people who are watching, is to bring up people's culture in the forefront and actually talk about it. Like, where are you from? You're from you're from China, or you where, you know, what's your ethnicity, what's your background, and if there are things like Chinese New Year or special dates, like maybe on a social work do, go and celebrate together somehow by going out for dinner and asking questions about it, about you know, their culture, wherever they're from. I think that would have been, I mean, that's how people get to know each other, I guess, but like making a specific effort, I think is would be a really nice thing to do to integrate different cultures in a workplace.
I want to add to that question as well. Yeah, I think encouraging, you know, having a really healthy work environment, imagining people is probably one of the hardest jobs. It's no one's born naturally know how to manage people. And I think encouraging people to have a curious culture, a curious nature about them. So not just being, you know, and that will in itself breed curiosity. And if that's the norm, if people are curious about where you're from and what you do, then it will seem kind of uncommon if somebody is not being as inclusive or as curious. It's like, well, why don't you want to find out about me? Or why don't, what, you know, when I first started bartending in West London, oh yeah, after work, exactly, when you go out for dinner, so you're going having drinks, my team, my group of mainly guys, of course, back in the day would be like, and the floor staff would be like, oh, Sian, take us to Chinatown. And like they would want me to go and like basically host them, because we would order the best food. So after you know, and also the kitchen's closed really late. So after work, maybe once a month, I'd take everybody and order a ridiculous amounts of food, and perhaps drink alcohol in teapots after a certain time at night, which is always a fond memory. Lauren Perrier rosé in a teapot. But yeah, I think just to back up and support Celeste, like definitely food, you know, what we do is food and drink. So like what we should do more of with our team of different cultures is food and drink. It's a great leveler. We all know it. It's a great barrier.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay.
We'll go on to the last question.
Yeah. So yeah, let's go back to the last question. Yeah. Any exciting plans in the pipeline?
Yep, I'm going to be hopefully spending some more time in Portugal and London. Obviously, the London Coffee Festival is coming up at the end of March. So you know, if you haven't got tickets for that, other things I do generally like a specialty coffee giveaway every month this year. So I haven't told anyone on my Instagram this yet, but actually this month it's going to be from Origin Coffee Roasters here in the UK, and they have some coffee beans from China. So I only just got them today to try, but it's on very good recommendation, and the taster is from Taiwan, actually.
Yeah, Frida. Yeah, I know her. Yeah, Frida.
Yeah, so she sent me some as well. So I think, so I'm really excited to hear that China is producing coffee, and that's quite a recent thing. So I'm going to be giving away a couple of their bags this month, and I'm in a BBC series. I have a small part in a BBC series later. It's not really hospitality related, but yeah, keep an eye out for that later in the year. But yeah, generally most of my stuff will all be sort of on my Instagram, and I do have some really possibly big projects coming up soon, but I can't announce it right now.
So watch this space.
So just follow my Instagram.
Amazing.
Excellent. Yeah.
Congratulations for all of those things.
Yes. Congratulations. Yeah.
And also good luck with your venue in West London, James.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's good that you're doing some big projects. Like I want to see like more Asians like representing. I think that's a cool thing.
Absolutely.
So, well done.
Yeah. Excellent.
For me, last year, from April, we managed to open 2 Asian inspired eateries. One was like a modern Taiwanese restaurant in Old Compton Street called Mr. G with some amazing chefs, Tata Eatery, Mung and Anna, who are incredible. And a lovely combination of what London stands for, kind of like Mung's from mainland China, Anna is from southern Portugal, and their food is absolutely delicious. And there's some Asian, Southeast Asian and Taiwanese inspired cocktails from there. And then Korean Dinner Party, which is also in Soho, Carnaby Street. It's like a London take on LA K-Town inspired street food. It's quite niche, but there's also some delicious cocktails that has a lot of inspiration from modern pop Korean culture. If you like Yakult, there's a Yakult and like champagne drink, which is a really lovely combo. So for people that don't know Yakult, when they go, they will. And for people that love Yakult, they can have it with some delicious sparkling wine. But coming up, I'll be opening and supporting a new bar in Shoreditch. It's also I can't have to keep it a secret, but I will eventually put it on my social media when I'm allowed. And I've also joined a wonderful team of friends who in a collaboration for our drinks consultancy called Supernatural. Some really talented people, and we are doing the new bar at the Standard Hotel. So next to Decima will be a really beautiful, modern, kind of like futuristic retro bar. So you can find and taste our drinks there. And there's probably a few more bits in the pipeline.
Excellent. So exciting. Anything else? Ellen, do you have any special projects?
At work, I'm just currently working on Chinese New Year specials. We've got Valentine's coming up as well. We have an exciting 3-course menu with a wine pairing option, and then we're going to be launching our new afternoon tea concept. So watch this space. Come and say hi to me, ask for me. I just saw someone popped in the comments box that there are some other wonderful Asians in F&B, such as Meng, Yanan Yao, Alan Wong, Andrew Wong, Jeremy Chan in the industry, and something to be proud of.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so so excellent. So thank you. I think we have managed to answer most of the questions, and then so thank you everyone. So Sion, Celeste, Ellen, and James for being part of the panel tonight, and thank you also our sponsor Marilyn for your kind sponsor for the tea. That's delicious. And so for any future events, please do follow Be Inclusive Hospitality on social, and also go to their website, sign up for the newsletter, so then you will be able to see all the upcoming events. So thank you everyone once again, our lovely audience and our panelists, and have a lovely evening and happy Lunar New Year.
Happy New
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye.